Welcome to Casuals of Runeterra, a special episode. I'm your host, Ryan, here with your other host, Hedge.
Oh, man. And, you know, like all good things, this is the third special. That's right. Our special's coming 3 now, too. What up?
Listen, both our backs are fucked up. Hedge more than mine, but we won't get into that. Housekeeping up top. You can listen to us everywhere. Visit us at podcastcore.com for all of our info. Email us at podcastcore@gmail.com. Follow us on all the platforms because that helps with discoverability. We appreciate it. And then leave a like and comment wherever you listen the most, or everywhere if you want to. We love hearing from you. It makes us smile. But word of mouth has gotten this far, so tell a friend to recover their lost memories by listening to the Casuals of Runeterra podcast. Results may vary.
That's right. Like, we are the worst thing to happen to 90s telenovela dramas. We will cure your amnesia.
Telemundo. So today we're talking about the third part, which is the Demon Hand. And this one's a little bit unique compared to the other two, which are motion comics, where this is a motion comic, but it's mixed with a game that was an in-game event. And it was basically a card game that dealt with sigils. And we'll talk about that as we go through the story. But all good stories told in 3 parts. This one is written by a collective of people, so no individuals. It's Max Folkman, who we've touched on one of his stories before. Sheedlo, which I believe Ty is usually partly associated with a lot of stories. So if we've done authors in the past, they help with those as well. And then Mayura, Jain. You know, once we say it, that's the name. So
Yep. Yeah,
legally,
that's canon now.
Yeah, we can.
And apologies to Mayura. Like, that's your name now. But yeah, we do thank you for your service in the stories that we love seeing brought to life.
So part 1, I'll kind of describe where we're at. So part 1, we start with the motion comic side, and it starts with a scene of an abandoned helmet, which we've seen before, with red glowing eyes on a frozen battlefield. Then there's a creature feeding on something in the Noxus Valley, and this creature starts to move from these valleys to the peaks through the forest until it arrives in the plains where there's a soul person sitting at a table.
And I don't know about you, the first thought I had when I saw like the image of this person at the table was the merchant from Resident Evil 4. I was like, my brain immediately went, what do you buy? What do you sell? And
so this person speaks and they proclaim that they've been waiting for this thing to arrive. And they question this creature's anger as it arrived at the table and ask if they want to play a game. And the creature hesitates, obviously is confused. And we get a flash of previous humanity in this creature, and then it's revealed that this creature is Katash Lee, now in human form again, and the game portion begins.
And if you've been going along with us through all these specials, first of all, thank you. But you will remember that Katash Lee is the name of the general that was under Mordekaiser, that, you know, Mordekaiser had some sentimental value. LOL.
Sunk cost, you mean?
So, you know, he tried to bring his buddy back. And now we get to see how that worked for Katash.
Yeah, let's see how this works out. So what happens now is you bounce between different rounds of this card game per se, but it deals with sigils. And as this is happening, we're getting more bits of story that are developing. So this takes us to part 2. So this person says that Katash Lee has played this game many times, but it's clear he has lost his memory when becoming this demon. And as the game continues, the demonic possession begins to take hold of Katash Lee again, little by little. And at the end, he is now half demon and half Katash Lee. And the person mentions that Katash Lee hasn't thought about this person's true nature, even though they've regained many of their memories during this process. The demonkin the warfare and all that has returned, but Katash Lee still doesn't remember who this person is.
And it's very funny to me as far as that, like, we're getting this through a card game and a mini game on the League of Legends browser.
Oh no.
But that
OGs
joke
will
aside,
understand.
that joke aside, it like, we do get to see a couple like little images as far as in the comic side when it's bouncing back and forth between the game here of what Katash Lee is remembering, which is also like at the Demikin War, which also kind of blends into like the Runic War. So that does give us a bit more of a time frame of what was lost that's coming back.
Yeah. And to wrap up part 2, Katash Lee begs this person, just tell me what it is, but they warn that he may not be prepared for the answer. Never ask questions you don't want answers to. And they play one more hand. This is the final hand of the game. And then the person mentions that Katash Lee's master taught them that, quote, familiarity is weakness. And Katash Lee believes that this person is lying about any association with their old master. And then they revealed playing this game with these sigils was actually a trap. And this takes us to part 3.
And we do love a good mention as far as like bamboozling a demon. Like for me being a Supernatural fan, it's like, yeah, they made the salt circle, bitch. Like that we find out that that's what the sigils were, is basically the salt circle.
Yeah, it's a cool little twist on things here. This takes us to part 3. So Katash Lee frees himself from that mindless demonic hunger, but in doing so, he has bound himself to the servitude of the Black Rose. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And the person promises that it's all right. I'll be more fair than the master, or than your old lord. Your old master, we know that to be Mordekaiser. And Katash Lee swears to never serve this quote unquote witch. And then we get the scene that begins to distort in the game, and a Black Rose chain lashes out at Katash Lee.
And this is also like getting a bit more like imagery that we are going to be familiar with from the Welcome to Noxus video. Like, this is a very fun part where like they start connecting those two dots together. And I do enjoy the little bit of writing or like with the dialogue here, because Leblanc is definitely more fair than Mordekaiser. What is good? I'll serve, baby. I will serve.
Listen, Hedge is an untrustworthy narrator. You can't. So the person morphs into Leblanc, and she's holding that helmet that we saw at the beginning. And Leblanc stands in front of this, now chained Katash Lee and says, you can thrash all you want in your new prison. And she assures him that he was hers from the moment he arrived. There was really nothing he could do about it.
And this is a very vivid and kind of blatant shout out as far as to the dialogue that Leblanc has been giving throughout like these little special episodes that we've had, because one of the things that LeBlanc keeps echoing is that it's like, I have an abundance of time, and all of these things, they create opportunities. You just have to wait for the right time to take advantage of that opportunity. This is a culmination of like all of the time that LeBlanc has been spending into this moment, and this is what it looks like at the end of it. Luckily, we don't have to wait a few thousand years to see what it looks like. We just get it now in about 6 minutes short.
Exactly. And then LeBlanc goes on to mention that, the whole point of regaining, or the whole process of her doing this to get him to regain his knowledge, is because that knowledge is special to her from all the lifetimes that he's had. And Katash Lee returns to full demon form in anger, and this actually pleases LeBlanc, and she mentions his freedom will come once he reveals the location of the darkened weapon.
And this is the most interesting point that we have gotten as far as for what to look forward to for Welcome to Noxus, because now we have a motive.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, this is something that we've never really known about Leblanc at any point of, like, even if we're talking about like a future show or like what Leblanc wants with Noxus, we've never known like an end destination, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the beauty of the Black Rose. But for the first time, we kind of are given a North Star of what to look at. LeBlanc's interested in Darkin weapons, which means she doesn't listen to this show, because we always said stay away from the living weapon, and that kind of breaks my heart a little bit. Like,
she's interested in the family atomics.
I want her to be interested in me.
Okay, and to wrap up part 3 here, a black puddle appears on the ground next to LeBlanc, and Vladimir appears. We've seen him do this before. If you listen to our Alone episode, the Vladimir episode, it's a good one. And the demon calmly approaches a wall and smears a black ink on that wall. And this ink forms into a picture or symbols representing some form of information that LeBlanc needs. Question mark, Aknun, possibly. We've been playing around with that theory, but it's also, this is now the general discussion section. If you listen to our predictions in the Welcome to Noxus episode, I think we got pretty close. When we talked about, is it a darkened weapon? Is it not? What's that helmet? What does it represent? What is that thing chained up? What's the relationship with Vladimir and stuff like that?
More importantly, I've this is the moment where we're going to parade ourselves and pat ourselves on the back. Like we really took a lot of time theorizing as far as like the direction that the creative team could go in post Arcane.
Yeah.
And once we were given Welcome to Noxus, we did a lot of theorizing on like the direction they could go with a Noxian story.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of kept pointing over to Ionia a lot.
Yeah.
And now that we know that like the darkened weapons are what's on LeBlanc's radar, there's 2 possibilities. One of which I think is very likely. The one that's not super likely, I don't think, is a trip into Shurima. Like that is the birthplace of the Darkin. So like it makes sense that you could find more Darkin there.
Yeah.
All right. The reason I don't think that that's likely is because the next one, there might be a story that we've covered before.
Yeah.
That involves the Noxians attacking a temple that holds a Darkin weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked at length at like how they could jump from Noxus to Ionia. Those 2 nations go hand in hand together when it comes to the lore.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we know the Darkin weapons are on the radar, they could easily go from Noxus into the hunt for Varus.
Yep.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. And it would be a great time to really start shining more of a light on the Varus story now that we, as far as like a society, are more open to talking about the idea of like, sexuality being on a spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like trans people and their rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because Varus is definitely not just a dude. Varus has got a lot going on. So I think that would be a really cool story to jump into, and a story that the audience would be more receptive to. Yeah. And I, for one, am like already patting my back because I'm like, yeah, we called it. We're going to Ionia. We're going to Ionia, baby.
Yeah, go listen to our Varus episodes, all of them, because we also covered the comics. And Hetch is right. Arcane has proven that, what we see. So if you listen to our episodes, where we stand politically, right? We're not really shy about it. And
we're not shy at all.
we're very critical on how these stories are told and what they represent, and if they actually have meaning behind them. And what Arcane has proven was that they can handle stories of importance that, mirror our real life experiences and the trials and tribulations we go through as we move towards progress. So that would be, Arcane has proven that they were able to properly show revolution and the effects of it and the effects of oppression on a nation that's otherized, right? With the depiction of Piltover and Zahn and the relationship of the sisters in growing up in that environment. And now is a state of, you have another set of very real problems that you can tackle in a median that we think you can handle responsibly. So yeah, go for it for real. I think that'll be very cool depiction. And what we see, if you look at our, as we've covered these 3 parts, and we'll try to wrap it up because we want this to be short. But as you've seen these 3 parts, with Mel returning to Noxus, willing to enact change based on what she's been through, and she's experienced revolution. And as someone who's an intellectual, and having someone like Leblanc be your opposing factor in that, mixing that transitioning from that into Ionia, you can do that very well. I mean, we know about, the Riven experience and that war. We know about the unjust there. We living in America understand unjust wars very well when it comes to attacking places for resources. There's a lot there they can get into. And as Hetch said, they don't have to touch Shurima because we have a book. You haven't listened to our book club stuff, check out the Runation episodes. A lot of great stuff covered in that. Anthony Reynolds killed it. But we don't have to go back there yet. And Hetch and I have some disagreements on how we should approach Shurima, but that will be an episode in the future. But yeah, I think he nailed it there. We should go that way. That makes sense.
Yeah, I not only because it's like they've shown that they are capable of doing it, but also like I think that's equally as important. The audience is receptive to it, as well, because Arcane is one of the most successful Netflix series, period.
Yep.
So it's like the audience has already shown that it's like we want more content that's like this. So it makes sense to me that that's the direction we're going to go in. And to me, this little short story, as far as LeBlanc, what her goals with the Otacon are, like, it kind of, to me, looks like a big, long tunnel with lights on it and arrows pointing, go this way. Like, that's what it feels like to me. So it's like, this is, if you're not going to do it now, then when, right? Like, that's what it feels like. But at the end of the day, this comic makes me this series, as far as our special, makes me very excited to see Welcome to Noxus. Like, I already wasn't, but I'm even more excited than I was before. And I think the other thing is we could also say Runeterra is just officially dead. I don't know why they are still patching the game. Like, they wanted a card mini game and they couldn't even put it in their card game. So, like, I think it's dead, right?
I think the fact that we now have the official physical card game, which is releasing its first series.
We don't have
it. Not yet.
We just know it exists. Yeah. We are not. We're not invited to
Who
the party.
knows what's gonna happen here? This is like reverse Hearthstone, where WoW had a physical game first. Anyways, we digress. We want to keep it short. Like Hetch mentioned, if you made it through all 3 parts, we hope you enjoyed it. Let us know if you like this release strategy we're doing with multi-part episodes, where we release them kind of back to back, rather than just being like a 2-hour episode. Like we said, we'd love to hear from you. But as always, thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with the next, most likely, Noxus related episode.
What? We're still talking about Noxus. Take care, everybody.